Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshur Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaiteham Shri Guroho Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I welcome everyone for session 24 on our ongoing series on the prayers of Gajendra. We have discussed up to text 16 in our daily discussions. Today we will take text 17 of the third chapter of the 8th canto. Canto 8, chapter 3, text 17, Srimad Bhagavatam. मादृक् प्रपन्न पशुपाश विमोक्षणाय मुक्ताय भूरि करुणाय नमोलयाय स्वांशेन सर्वतनुभृन्मनसि प्रतीत प्रत्यग्दृशे भगवते बृहते नमस्ते। मादृक् प्रपन्न पशुपाश विमोक्षणाय मुक्ताय भूरि करुणाय नमोलयाय स्वांशेन सर्वतनुभृन्मनसि प्रतीत प्रत्यग्दृशे भगवते बृहते नमस्ते। मादृक् प्रपन्न पशुपाश विमोक्षणाय मुक्ताय भूरि करुणाय नमोलयाय स्वांशेन सर्वतनुभृन्मनसि प्रतीत प्रत्यग्दृशे भगवते बृहते नमस्ते। Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Since an animal such as I has surrendered unto you, who are supremely liberated, certainly you will release me from this dangerous position. Indeed, being extremely merciful, you incessantly try to deliver me. By your partial feature as Paramatma, you are situated in the hearts of all embodied beings. You are celebrated as direct transcendental knowledge, and you are unlimited. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Srila Prabhupada, in his purport, has divided this whole section in some major chunks, depending on the topic. The first section of Prabhupada's purport has been focused on Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's words that the word Brihate and Bhagavate here refer ultimately to Krishna. And Prabhupada has given a few very powerful evidences, praman, references in this purport. How Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's words that Bhagavate and Brihate, referring to Sri Krishna, are very scripturally supported, and how that Gajendra is ultimately calling out to Krishna. In the second set, or the second paragraph of Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada mentions who is an animal in this world. So we know Gajendra is an animal as far as the body is concerned, but Prabhupada in the second paragraph focuses his purport on who is actually an animal. Is it someone who looks like an animal, or is it someone who thinks like an animal? And what are the characteristics so that we know whether we are human or animal? So that is the second paragraph. And the last paragraph of Prabhupada's purport is bringing these two paragraphs together. So first paragraph is about how great Krishna is as Bhagavan. Second paragraph is about how fallen we are as animals in the human form. And the third concluding paragraph is building a bridge between these two paragraphs of the purport. How Krishna, being the Supreme Lord, being Bhagavan, he is very merciful to be situated as Paramatma for all living beings. And he is always interested and he is always capable, not just as far as his ability is concerned, not just as far as his skill is concerned, but he is also very merciful as far as his will is concerned. So the skill and the will of Krishna is directed towards uplifting our animal consciousness. So Prabhupada spends the first paragraph about Krishna's greatness, second paragraph about our fallen state, and the third concluding paragraph of the purport, how Krishna, being Bhagavan, is very concerned about our animalistic mentality, and hence through his ability is expanding himself as Paramatma, but at the same time through his heart he wants to uplift everyone and take them back home, back to Godhead. So in this way Prabhupada very logically lays down this flow of the purport. This is why when we study Prabhupada's books, it is very important to study the purports logically. How is Prabhupada tying the purport to the verse? This is the first analysis the reader of the Bhagavatam must do. So here Gajendra talks about these three things. He talks about Krishna being great. He identifies himself to be an animal. And he also talks about how Krishna is very interested. His skill and will. These are two important words. Skill refers to one's ability, and will refers to one's desire to execute something. So someone, for example, will be very skilled as far as soccer is concerned, but his will, his desire would be probably to play the flute. So here Gajendra says Krishna has the skill and the will to uplift living beings, which means as the Supreme Lord, he is capable of liberating the souls, and at the same time he is not just as far as skill, his heart is there. So his mind and heart, his intellectual ability to liberate and his heart's affection to liberate, both are there. So in this way Prabhupada very beautifully follows that train of thought of Gajendra and strings these three paragraphs of the purport. So now let's get the different Sanskrit words out here from this verse. First of all, Gajendra identifies himself. He says Madrik. Madrik means like me, mere jaise, like that. Prapanna, we know the word prapatti, which means surrender. So here Prapanna, Gajendra is saying that Madrik Prapanna, I am trying to surrender, but unfortunately my Lord, Pashu Pasha. Pashu means animal and Pasha means ropes. Just like we know Chinatsi Goram Yamapasha Bandham, Bhimatsi Bhimam Bhavapasha Bandham. Our Bilva Mangala Thakur says, Krishna, you can cut through the ropes. Yamapasha, Pasha means rope. You can cut the ropes of Yamaraj when someone surrenders to you. And at the same time, Bhavapasha, you can also cross through the ropes of this material attachment. When jivas are entangled in this material world, Krishna, very wonderfully, you can cross over. You can help your devotees cross over the ropes of material attachment. Yet at the same time, when they have when Yamaraj has caught them by his noose, very quickly your holy name will cut those ropes to pieces. However, Krishna, although you can cut the ropes of Yamaraj for your devotees, you can help them cross over the ropes of attachment in this world. However, when your devotees tie you in bhakti pasha, in ropes of affection, you are not able to liberate yourself. So in this way, this is an important point that Gajendra is saying. The word pasha referring to rope. So madrik prapanna pashu. Pashu means animal. So pashu pasha. Oh my Lord, I have been entangled, I have been tied up in this body of an animal. Pashu pasha. And I am calling out to you in desperateness, in helpless desperation. Because first of all, I am an animal. There's not much I can do. But my Lord, I want to surrender to you. Why to me? Asks Krishna. So Gajendra is having this conversation with Krishna in this verse. Vimokshanaya. I want you to help me free myself from this situation. You see, the word used is vimokshana. Moksha means to liberate. So to liberate Gajendra from the jaws of the crocodile is moksha. But Gajendra is not saying mokshanaya, he says vimokshanaya. Vi means vishesha rupena moksha, which means, my Lord, don't just liberate me from the jaws of the crocodile, actually liberate me from the jaws of the crocodile of material life. Please give me special. V means vishesha, which means special. Please liberate me in a very special way. Instead of just solving the problem, I use the problem to present before you a bigger problem. So in the first line, Gajendra is saying, I am an animal and I am surrendering unto you. So he says that he gives sambandha, abhideya and prayojana in one line. So what is the sambandha? My Lord, I am an animal, I belong to you. What is the abhideya? What is the relation? Oh, that of surrender, prapanna. And what is the prayojan? What is the goal? My Lord, please kindly liberate me from this world. So now in the second line, it's almost like the Supreme Lord is asking, but why me? Why not anyone else? So Gajendra says, Muktaya, my Lord, you are free and hence you can help me. Only those who are free can help those who are not free. So Gajendra is adding 3 adjectives to Krishna here. He says, Muktaya, not just the fact that you are free, Bhuri Karunaya. You are free, that's one thing, but at the same time your eyes are always searching whom to help. This is Bhuri Karuna. Of course, we will discuss these terms in our session today. We are just doing a general overview. So, Krishna is free, therefore he can free others. Second, he is also waiting to help others with profuse mercy. Bhuri Karuna. This is the second adjective. And the third adjective is Alayaya. Laya means laziness, or to sleep, or to be inattentive, or to procrastinate. But alaya means that Lord who is on the edge of his seat, who is always on the tip of his toenails to help, very, very eager and very enthusiastic to extend his hand. So 3 qualities of Krishna have been mentioned. 1, he is free, therefore he can free others. But there are so many who have money, but that doesn't mean they give it out to people who don't have it, right? Those who have money, they can give in charity. But do they have the heart to give? That's another question. So first adjective is Krishna is free, but the second adjective is he is searching to free others. He is searching to give out his mercy. And third adjective is he never delays. He is never lazy. He is always ever enthusiastic, ever eager, without any procrastination or tiredness or laziness or inattentiveness. He is always ready to extend his hand. Therefore, my Lord, I am an animal. I come to you with a mood of surrender. I want you to humbly and kindly liberate me, not just moksha, but vimoksha. Please help me out of this material world. And why you, my Lord? Because you are out of this material world in the first place. Second, you are waiting to give this mercy to others. And 3, you are on the edge of your seat to do it. You are very fast. So you have the ability, you have the heart, and you are very enthusiastic to do it. At the same time, my Lord, now Gajendra continues. He says, Swa amshena sarva tanu bhrit manasi pratita pratyak drishe bhagavate brihate namaste. Point to be noted is, after every Chaturthi Vibhakti here, the word Namaha will come. Like for example, Pashupasha Vimokshanaaya Namaha, Muktaya Namaha, Bhori Karunaya Namaha, Alayaya Namaha, Swamshena Sarvat Anubhrid Manasi Pratita Pratyak Drishe Namaha, Bhagavate Namaha, Brihate Namaha. So this Namaha or Namaste goes with each of these terms. So he's saying a characteristic, a quality, and offering his obeisances. So Swamshena Sarvatanubhrin Manasi Pratita Pratyak Drishe means, my Lord, these things I'm not just saying through my tongue. You are actually sitting inside me like Paramatma and observing internally and externally. Externally you are hearing my words as Gajendra and through my tongue, and internally you are witnessing what's happening in my heart. My Lord, if you think both of this matches, then please kindly help me. Also, he calls the Supreme Lord as Bhagavate, which means Bhagavan, and he calls him as Brihate, which means he who is Ananta, unlimited, he who is very big in comparison to the problem. One time one person came to my Gurudev and said, oh, my life is filled with so many problems. There are so many issues in my life. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, do you have more problems than even Prahlad Maharaj? Is there someone who's putting you in boiling oil? Is there someone who's throwing you from the cliff? Is there someone attacking you with swords? Is there someone giving you poison? Is there someone throwing you at the pit of poisonous snakes? Is there someone throwing you at the feet of a stampede of mighty elephants? Is there someone who's torturing you through thought, word and deed? And the person said no. So Srila Guru Maharaj said, when the Supreme Lord as Narasimhadev can with the edge of the nails of his lotus hand flick all the problems for Prahlad Maharaj, why do you worry in your life? And then Srila Guru Maharaj said a very interesting thing in Hindi. He said, Jivan hamara bigda hai, rakshak hamara tagda hai. Which means don't come and tell God how big your problems are, but go to your problems and tell him how big your God is. So here Gajendra calls out to Krishna as Brihate, which means the situation may be overwhelming for me, but from your perspective it's insignificant. Just like when we are walking on the street, the skyscrapers look really humongously tall. But when you take the aircraft and you're in the sky, you see them from the height. You see that these towers are like small atomic particles. So Krishna, from your perspective, this whole situation is insignificant. So please kindly help me. This is the theme of surrender in this verse. So all of us can pray this verse because the crocodile for us will be different. All of us will have different details of the crocodile. For someone it would be, let's say, the relation with their spouse. For someone it would probably be the relation with their parents or the relation with their kids. Or someone will have health issues, that could be the crocodile chewing in. For some it could be financial disaster. For someone it could be immigration issues. For someone else maybe legal matters and implications. So in this way, everyone has different details as far as external crocodiles are concerned. As far as internal crocodiles are concerned, we all have the same crocodile, which is the crocodile of lust and anger and greed and envy and pride and jealousy and false ego and fault finding and all of these things. So we're being chewed constantly by the crocodile. So using that as an example of begging for help, we all, in all circumstances, can offer this prayer to Krishna, begging him to take us out of the situation. Sometimes people ask this question, can we go to Krishna for temporary problems? The best thing is to always ask Krishna for bhakti. So is it okay to go and ask Krishna for temporary things? Well, the answer is yes and no. It depends on what platform we are at. So everyone at all times is highly encouraged to approach Krishna. But if naturally we are our bhakti is not very high class, we will not be able to ask and beg Krishna only and only for bhakti. Like for example, yesterday I was speaking to um, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu here, and Prabhu was telling me that the story of one Vaishnav, very exalted Vaishnav, who has been praying that Krishna, whatever it takes to purify me, please do it. Please don't trick me with temporary, alluring, comforting situations. Like a mother who goes to the cradle of the child and the child is crying and she tries to distract the child, the crying baby, because she has to cook in the kitchen. So she puts on different songs around the cradle and different toys around the cradle, and there are things moving in the just above the cradle, in just, let's say, in a way that the child can perceive it and feel entertained on its own, and the child naturally forgets to cry and moves its legs and hands and is happy because it's distracted. But there's a time when the child is actually so hungry that none of these toys will satisfy the child. So that's when the mother has to drop whatever she's doing in the kitchen and run to the child. So this devotee, this exalted devotee that His Grace Adi Gadadhar Prabhu was mentioning about, that devotee is at a platform where his heart is like the baby, really crying, hungry for nothing else but Radha and Krishna. So he's been praying, Krishna, please don't distract me by giving me temporary things and temporary happiness in this world which will make me forget you. Let me cry for you and please do whatever is ultimately good for me. I don't know what is good for me, but whatever is good for me ultimately, by whatever step I get purified faster, whatever it takes to bring me fastest to your lotus feet, please do that. And when Adi Gadadhar Prabhu was telling me this, I looked at him and I said, I don't have the courage to chant that prayer. It's like Queen Kunti is great, but I don't have the inner realization and the confidence to chant Vipada Santuta Shashvat Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyata Punar Bhava Darshanam. Queen Kunti says, may I have more and more problems, because when there are problems, Krishna, I see you. And when there are no problems, I don't see you. And those who see you, they never see another birth. So let me see you. And I see you during problems, so let there be more problems. So it's not that Queen Kunti is a sadist, that she wants problems. She wants Krishna, and whatever brings her closest to Krishna, she wants such a situation. So we were mentioning here that if someone is really advanced, they will ask for nothing from Krishna, but they will ask only to serve. Their desire is so pure. So their desire is so sweet and pure. Even externally, we can't judge, we can't understand them on the basis of how they move and how they talk and how they walk and what they wear. But inside in their heart, their surrender and the pure intention that they have in their heart, only Krishna knows. Like we see in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Vritrasur was a very, very great demon. He was so great that, think about it. Let's just think about it. We are all so scared of the astrological chart. We have little problems in life and we want to see what's wrong with the Rahu and the Ketu and the Shani and what is happening with the planetary positions in my astrological chart. So think about all of these demigods. They are very powerful. Whether it is Chandra, whether it is Surya, whether it is Mercury, Venus, Earth, Jupiter, Brihaspati, think about all of these personalities. They are very, very strong. Shukra, Shani, Buddha. Think about Mars and Mercury and Saturn, Shani. All of them are very, very powerful beings, and people get scared. They perform yajnas to get rid of the astrological misplacement of these planets on their chart. But all of these demigods with all their armies put together were trembling in front of one Vritrasur. All the demigods were so pure in their heart. They looked very beautiful. And Vritrasur externally looked ugly. His eyes were spitting balls of fire. He had sharp teeth. And he looked very, very ugly on the external. And the demigods had very beautiful silken robes, and they were looking very effulgent and very, very beautiful. They had so much knowledge and they had so much spiritual piety, but they were trembling. They were trembling. They were running to Vishnu for help. But it is so true. In the Bhagavatam it is stated that Vritrasur was actually pleasing Krishna way more than all of these demigods. Why? Because the intention of Vritrasura, although externally he was a demon, externally he was in a demoniac circumstance, but his intention was only to please Krishna. He was ready to take that curse from past life as Chitraketu Maharaj, only to serve Krishna. He was ready. When Mother Parvati cursed him that you will become a demon, he accepted. He accepted that, oh, that's fine. And the demigods there were trying to save their bodies, but here was Chitraketu Maharaj ready to become Vritrasur, become a demon and do his demoniac service with the intention that because I have been put in the circumstance, may Krishna be happy. So it's all about the sincerity of the inner desire and the purity of the inner desire. So although Vritrasur was externally in a demoniac form, he was actually pleasing Krishna way more than anyone because of his pure desire and intention, which cannot be seen on the external. Srila Prabhupada, Shrutakirti Prabhu explains, who was a servant of Srila Prabhupada for quite some time, he explained that on one morning walk in Los Angeles, I believe, all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada were walking and Prabhupada was chanting the holy names and also taking questions. And all the senior disciples were ahead asking questions and clarifying their doubts, and Prabhupada was responding. And there was this one disciple of Prabhupada, so humble, so meek. He was behind. He was at the back, not asking any questions. He was just hearing the whole thing. But as Prabhupada set off to leave, just before Prabhupada, he sat into the car and he was almost about to shut the door. This disciple ran and placed his head at the lotus feet, the lap of Srila Prabhupada, between Prabhupada in the car and the slamming of the door. And he asked Prabhupada, what does it take to become a sincere devotee? What does it take to become Krishna conscious? And we would probably expect Prabhupada to maybe quote a shloka, or maybe say a story, or explain, let's say, a sutra. But Prabhupada said just one word. Just one word. And that too, it had 2 syllables. And it wasn't chant. Those 2 syllables were desire. Just one word. Prabhupada said desire. When the desire is strong, you will become Krishna conscious. So it's all about the inner desire. So when someone is really pure-hearted, they will call out to Krishna and ask for nothing except, may my Lord give me his service. At all times, I don't know where my karma is going to take me. Next life, I could be probably maybe born as an animal. And this has been seen in the past. Great souls like King Indradyumna and the Gandharva Huhu and even Bharat Maharaj. They have all taken possession of animals. We have seen so many examples like this. So it's possible we could get the wrath of some senior devotee and become an animal. Or we could become a demigod. But what is the use if you become any of this and forget Krishna? The purpose, the sole reason why we have been manifested is to serve him. And if we forget him, what is the point? Kita janma ho yatha tuvadasa bahir mukha brahma janmi nahi asa. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, I prefer to become an ant in the house of a devotee. At least I will have service to eat his remnants and hear the holy name. And even die by being crushed under his feet. Than to become Brahma in Brahmaloka, where all 4 heads are facing away from Krishna. What is the point? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is taking the role of the greatest devotee, Srimati Radharani, teaches us, Mama janmani janmani ishware bhavatad bhakti rahaitu ki tvai. Krishna, I don't want anything. Please just promise me that may I never forget you. May I never forget you. Whether this life or next life, karma can come. I'm not scared. Let them come. But in those circumstances, may I never forget you. Mad janmana phalamidam madhukaita vare mat prarthaniya mad anugraha esha eva tvad bhritya bhritya paricharaka bhritya bhritya bhrityasya bhritya iti mam smara lokanatha. My Lord, when you see me, may you remember me as the servant of my spiritual master. Next life, I don't know where I will be, but please fulfill this desire that wherever my spiritual master, my Guru Maharaj is there, may I go and assist him. I could become a male, I could become a female, I could become maybe even handicapped. I don't care. But if I am of service wherever my Guru Maharaj is in my next life, Krishna, please benedict me with that. Let me serve him who is serving Prabhupada, who is serving Saraswati Thakur, who is serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this way we can be actually the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord. Gopi bhartuhu padakamalayur das das anudas. This is the highest extreme. But how about for those who are not there? Does that mean we should not ask Krishna anything material? Well, it is better we go to our father than we go to the neighbor. Father likes, even if the child is disobedient, he shares everything with the father. Similarly, even if we have material desires, we can go to Krishna and beg him, Krishna, please, I am in this circumstance. Please help me. This is something that's bothering me. Krishna likes when we involve him in our situations in life. Just like the parents like, they come and tell the child, even if you have problems, come and tell us. Why do you hide like this? It builds up in you and then one day you explode. Why don't you share with us? We are always there with you. So where is that quality coming from? It's coming from the heart of Krishna, who wants his devotees to share everything, to have conversations. So we see great devotees in the past, they would have conversations with Krishna, their deity. This is how Sakshi Gopal deity. Now you see the story of Sakshi Gopal also. The Brahmana got Krishna under his control by love. So in this way we can share everything, whether it's the marriage that the Brahmana was talking about, or whether Madhavendra Puri wanted to see the taste of the kheer so that he could cook for his own deity, and Gopinath stealing it for him so that he could make the same preparation for Srinathji. So involving the deity in our daily life is bhakti. Speaking to the deity, while chanting, speaking to the deity, even otherwise remembering the deity that we like the most and involving them. Krishna, I have problems, can you help me? And in this way, by depending on Krishna for everything, one will make advancement. But it shouldn't be in such a way that when we have suffering, we remember him, and then when Krishna removes the suffering, now we don't care. It's like, I don't need to go to the doctor when I'm healthy. I'll go to him when I'm really sick so that I don't have to pay unnecessarily. That is not proper. Bhagavatam says, akama sarvakama moksha kama. Whether we have material desires or no material desires or whatever circumstance, we can go to Krishna. But tivrena bhakti yogena, one should be very, very intense in one's approach, which means at all circumstances, whether we are happy or we are sad or we are not so sad, we're not so happy, whatever may be the spectrum of our inner consciousness, we can always approach Krishna. So coming to this verse, Gajendra here is calling out to Krishna and he's asking for help. So there are three qualities of Krishna mentioned. Muktaya. Muktaya means Krishna is free. He is liberated. He is never conditioned in this world. The police officer may enter the jail, but that doesn't mean the rules of the jail work on him. The book distributor may sometimes go for jail preaching. He can take his book inside, but that doesn't mean he becomes a prisoner. Similarly, Krishna may appear in this world, but that doesn't mean he ever gets lusty or greedy or angry. It's not that Krishna killed Kamsa because Krishna was angry at him. It's not that Krishna was dancing with the gopis because he was lusty. It's not that Krishna became the king of Dwarka because he was greedy for power. These qualities don't hold true for Krishna. So he is mukta. Gajendra is saying, my Lord, anyone who has freedom from problems, only he can help me. Like for example, if two persons are tied up to the chair, there are two chairs, both persons are sitting on one chair each, and their hands are tied and their feet are tied and their eyes are tied and there's a cloth around their mouth. And they're trying to move. Feet can't move because it's tied with ropes or with a cloth, and hands are tied together and there's a blindfold, and There's a cloth going through the mouth, so he can't speak or yell. He can move his hands. He can move his feet. And at the same time, he's completely bound up to that chair. So he can't stand up, run, can scream, can move. And another person also next to him is like that. So both being bound up, they can't help each other. Similarly, no living being in this world can help us because they're all ultimately bound up. Everyone is bound by Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. Everyone is bound up by birth, old age, disease and death. Everyone is bound up by Adi Daivik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik Klesha. Everyone is bound up by hunger, thirst, greed, anger, lust, sleep, laziness. All of these ropes are going through the soul. And the person is bound up. So how can one help another? But Krishna is free from all of them. So someone who is not tied to a chair, he can open up. So this is why Gajendra says Muktaya to Krishna, because even demigods can't help. They can help by increasing the luxury in the jail, but they can't take one out of the jail because they themselves are in the jail. But only Krishna can help. Just like if there is dal dropped on the floor, and we want to clean that dal, we will always look for a cloth which is clean. If you take a dirty cloth and you try to clean, then the floor becomes even more dirty. Let's say the cloth is dipped in some grease or it has some other paint on it, and you take that to wipe the floor. Now floor becomes more dirty than before. So you look for a clean cloth to clean the floor which has dal spilt on it. So similarly, to clean up, you need, or to liberate, you need someone who is free or clean compared to the contamination, and that is Krishna. This is why Krishna is called Mukunda. The word Mukunda has many meanings, but primarily here the word Mukunda means he who is the giver of liberation. Only Krishna can liberate and no one else. We can go anywhere we want. We can have all the temporary arrangements and all the temporary securities, but ultimately everything will tumble on its head and crush down with the power of time. But ultimately it's only Krishna. So therefore Sridhar Swami here comments, Tatra vimokshane yogyatam aha. That Gajendra is calling out to Krishna as Muktaya, because Tatra vimokshane yogyatam. Only Krishna has the yogyata. He has the qualification. He has the ability to liberate. Everyone else is like a bulb giving little light, but Krishna is like the sun. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Hai Andhakar Jaha Krishna Taha Nai Mayer Adhikar. So all other temporary solutions are like electric bulbs. They will fuse in some time. But Krishna is like the inexhaustible sun. Not just the fact that he is free and he can do it as far as ability. Second quality of Krishna is Bhuri Karuna. So Karuna means someone who wants it and Krishna gives it. That is Karuna, mercy. Like for example, someone comes to us and says that I am very hungry, can you give me something? And we cook a big feast and give them free. And they are eating that. They are coming to us and we are offering. Now this is Karuna, this is mercy. You see, because outside you can get the same feast but you have to pay. But here they are giving it out of their heart's desire, heart's affection. So this is Karuna. But imagine the mother who knows that the child is hungry and the child is busy running around the house and playing, and the mother with the plate in one hand runs behind the child. So it's one thing when the child comes and says, I'm hungry, and the mother feeds. This is mercy. She's doing it selflessly. But another level, extreme level, is when the child knows he's hungry, but is busy playing around and running around in the house, scattering the toys, running from one room to another, and is not interested in eating. Is now playing so much with the toys that the mother, with plate in one hand, with hand mixing rice and dal, has to run, feeding the mouth. And the child says, no, I don't want it. The mother says, no, please have it. You will feel hungry. This is called Bhuri Karuna. This is called Bhuri Karuna. Where is she getting this quality from? She is getting it from Krishna, who is Paramatma. When jivas go to Krishna and say, I want it, and Krishna gives it, that is Karuna. But when Krishna as Paramatma walks with the jiva in every body, running behind him to give him love of Godhead, this is Bhuri Karuna. Bhuri Karuna. So Krishna walking as Paramatma in everyone's heart is a very, very big thing. Very big thing. The living entity wants happiness but doesn't know how to find it, where to find it. Just like the child is hungry but doesn't know where to focus. And the same child, sometimes when the mother is feeding, it will hit the hand of the mother and say, "Oh, I don't want it. Why are you troubling me like this?" Similarly, the living being uses the energy coming from Paramatma to criticize him and turn away from him. But still the mother says, "No, no, bacha, you eat, then I will give you this, I will give you that." She's trying to encourage the child. Similarly, Krishna is Paramatma. He's always there with the living being, feeding the living being his affection, his love at all times, in all bodies, in all circumstances. Never is a time when Krishna leaves the jiva alone. This is Bhuri Karuna. What to speak of Krishna? Devotees who worship Krishna to the extent they become purified, they inherit this quality of having Bhuri Karuna. His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, once when he was distributing books on the street, there was a Christian family who came to him. And His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu started speaking about the Bhagavad Gita and how Krishna has very lovingly spoken this book. This is the book of knowledge. It takes one to the path of yoga and meditation, etc. And they heard all of this and they finally said, "We are not interested. We are Christians. We believe in the Bible and I don't think we are interested in buying it." Vaisheshika Prabhu still continued speaking and said, "Oh, that's fine. At least you found a friend." And he started speaking to them, "Where are you from? Oh, this is where I grew up. How many kids do you have?" And in general, they struck such a good chord that even after the family left, they didn't want to buy the book, but they left. And in a few hours, they came back. And they told him, "We want to buy the book." And Vaisheshika Prabhu said, "But I thought you are not interested in buying." The lady said, "I am actually not interested in the book. But even after you got to know that we are not interested in buying the book, you spoke to us so nicely. You had such gentleman-like interactions and gestures. And we were thinking that how could we displease someone who's so kind to us? And if this book brings in these qualities where you can selflessly talk to us even when you know that we're not going to buy the book, this is why we want the book. If this book teaches you kindness, and if this is who you are practicing this path, then we want this book to keep you happy." So in this way, we see great devotees in this world who worship Krishna. They become mukta, they inherit the qualities of Krishna, just like the obedient son inherits the qualities of their father and the property of the father. Similarly, the obedient devotee inherits the qualities of Krishna. The obedient disciple inherits the qualities of Guru. So Bhuri Karuna. I am remembering a very heart-touching story that Vraj Vihari Prabhu shared from Radha Gopinath temple. There was this one boy who came to the Prerna festival. And he came to Vraj Vihari Prabhu and he said, "Prabhu, I am very interested in this Krishna consciousness movement. I really like this movement." So Vraj Vihari Prabhu was very excited talking to him. He attended one prayerna, then he attended many prayernas. He became a counselee of Vraj Vihari Prabhu. And Vraj Vihari Prabhu gave him Bhagavad Gita and got him beads. And was very, very interested. He was practicing. And as he was practicing, it is described, one day he called up his father. His father was out of town. The boy was in Mumbai, the father was out of town. So he called up his father and said, "Father, I want to share something with you. I have been going to this ISKCON temple and I have met with the Hare Krishna devotees and I have been practicing this chanting, japa and reading the Bhagavad Gita and attending the programs. And Father, I want to tell you that I feel very, very happy. I've never felt so happy in my life." So the father became very grave on the phone and he said, "I have been out of town, so I don't know all this, but tomorrow I'm coming home. Please wait for me. I want to talk to you." So the child became very serious. He thought his father was going to stop him from visiting the temple. So next day the father came and the child waited with anticipation. He asked the father, "You wanted to talk to me about ISKCON?" And the father had this grave face. He held the hand of the child and rushed him into one room where on the top there was an antique where he had kept all old stuff. And the father put his hand into that antique and grabbed a Bhagavad Gita as it is. And next to it was a japa bead bag. He told his son, "Do you know this?" The son said, in excitement, he said, "Oh, this is ISKCON." This is the bead bag. This is chanting beads. And this is Bhagavad Gita of Prabhupada. "Oh, father, I didn't know you have one for yourself. Where did you get this from?" And the father smiled. And the father said, "Actually, oh son, now I'm living in India. But before this, in 1975, I did my schooling from Massachusetts in America." This story is very dear to my heart because I had the good fortune of staying in the area in Massachusetts, in Boston for a few years. So this is very dear to my heart. So the father said, "I was in Boston University, and being a Gujarati in 1970s, it's very difficult to find vegetarian food. It's difficult to find even Indians around, what to speak of vegetarian food. So I was searching to find something, and it so happened that I came to an ISKCON temple." Now this is the father telling his story to the son. He said, "I came to the ISKCON temple in Boston at 72 Commonwealth Avenue. And as I came for the program, and there was a food, there was vegetarian feast, and I was very happy. And there I met this devotee. His name was Niranjan Das Brahmachari, who's no one other than His Holiness Niranjan Maharaj, who was temple president and who has profusely contributed to the Boston community. So this father said, I met Niranjan Das Brahmachari, and he very profusely fed me prasad that day at temple. And not just that, he didn't even ask for money. He held my hand and he said, "Thank you for coming. Where do you live?" So I told him that I live in so-and-so place. He said, "Oh, so you will be hungry every day? Why don't you come here every day?" And so the father hesitated and he asked Niranjan Maharaj, "But if I come every day and I eat here, then..." There was a pause, and Niranjan Maharaj immediately said, "In ISKCON temple, the prasadam is free. You don't have to worry. Please come. These are the remnants of Krishna. Please come and accept Mahaprasad." So then this father started going to the temple every day, and he would honor prasadam, and he would never pay. He would come and he would look at the deities and attend the kirtan and the program and honor prasad. In fact, he would sometimes even pack up tiffin and boxes home. One day it so happened that he didn't come to the temple. It was freezing cold. Boston can go very, very cold. So it was cold in the winter and he couldn't come to the temple. And Niranjan Das Brahmachari, who was Brahmachari then Maharaj, he waited and waited and waited. He said, "Oh, I didn't see this devotee come here." So he took his bicycle. He took his cycle and he tied the tiffin box on the back of the cycle, and he cycled his way from the temple to the place where this boy was living. And he went to his home and he knocked. He said, "Oh, you didn't come? So I thought I will bring." And he opened up the lunchbox, hot prasadam in the middle of the cold winter. So this boy's eyes were filled with tears. He embraced Niranjan Das Brahmachari and he said, "I am not doing anything for you, but you are having so much love for me." And Niranjan Das Brahmachari said, "This is the nature of Prabhupada's movement, where we serve Krishna and we see Krishna's part and parcel in everyone, and we selflessly serve everyone with mercy and compassion." It so happened that this boy, even when he would take flights and he would leave Boston sometimes and come back to Boston. So at that time, when he would take his flight, Niranjan Maharaj would cycle his way to the airport and he would take prasadam with him. And he would give this boy that when you're in the flight, don't eat what they're giving you. It will not be prasad. You please accept this and you eat, honor Mahaprasad. And this boy developed such loving relationship with Niranjan Das Brahmachari that he took up to 16 rounds of chanting. Not very much because of a philosophical conviction, but it was because the heart melted by Niranjan Maharaj's Bhuri Karuna. We're talking about Krishna's compassion, right? So Bhuri Karuna, his devotees also. So Niranjan Maharaj was spreading this affection. And it so happened that he developed this rapport. But one day this boy, he happened to pack up and leave for India. So even at that time, Niranjan Maharaj came to the airport with tears and gave him prasadam and said, "May you have a safe journey. I will miss you here in America." So this boy came here to India. He continued his chanting, remembered Niranjan Maharaj, got married, and then it so happened that in the flow of maintaining a grihastha life and making money, etc., the boy gave up Krishna consciousness. But still, he would remember his fond memories of America. Every year, as he would clean his attic, it's described that he would clean up things that he doesn't need, but then he would still see his bead bag and this book, and he would think, I don't chant anymore. Should I just give it up to someone? Should I just let go of these things? But he would still keep them because Niranjan Das Brahmachari had very lovingly offered this. So he would clean the attic every year. He would take all the old stuff out, but still keep the bead bag and the book. So that was the bead bag and the book that he was showing this boy, his son, and saying that, "Oh son, you are now chanting and reading. I am so happy for you. Look, Niranjan Das Brahmachari gave this to me, and I somehow wasted my life. I forgot about this process, but I'm very happy that you are taking it up." So this boy was very inspired by this story, and he came and told Hare Prabhu that, "Oh, my father has been very influenced by the Krishna consciousness movement." So Hare Prabhu smiled and said, "Next prerna here in Radha Gopinath temple is being given by Niranjan Maharaj." So this boy was ecstatic. He asked Hare Prabhu, "Can I call my father to give him a surprise?" And Hare Prabhu said, "Yes, please, you should do that." So happy. Now the father came and he sat on the VIP chair at Radha Gopinath temple, and he had no clue what's happening. So he sat there, and suddenly off the door came Niranjan Maharaj. Now, then it was Niranjan Das Brahmachari serving at Radha Gopi Vallabha temple in ISKCON, Boston. But now this was Niranjan Swami Maharaj, an excellent speaker of Hari Katha, an excellent singer of Hari Kirtan, a GBC, Prabhupada disciple and guru with thousands of disciples, and such an inspiring, tall figure in ISKCON, who's inspiring everyone across decades and across continents. So then when this father saw, the son looked at the father's face and the father's jaw dropped because he was getting choked up. And all of those flashes of ISKCON Boston were coming in front of his eyes. And at the end of the class, the son took the father to Niranjan Maharaj through Hare Prabhu. And the father looked at Niranjan Maharaj with a dropped jaw. And Niranjan Maharaj looked at the father with a moist eye. And he pointed his finger up. And he said, "Aren't you Chinmay Kanakia from Boston University? Do you remember? You were part of the Boston temple and you would come for prasadam and we would sit together and we would speak all this. And sometimes we would even discuss, we would do kirtans together. Do you remember that point when we met at your hostel? Do you remember the point when, and Maharaj started sharing. He remembered every single detail. He remembered the place, he remembered the person, he remembered everything. And the father held the hand of his son and completely broke down in tears. He loudly said to Niranjan Maharaj, "Maharaj, you have loved me so much. You have affectionately given me so much time and mercy, but I have given up the chanting process that you blessed me with. The bead bag that you gave me, the book that you gave me, I have not been using. Maharaj, please forgive me." Niranjan Maharaj said, "No problem. Do you want to take a fresh beginning from today?" And the father rubbed his eyes and wiped his tears and smiled, and he said, "Yes, I promise you, Maharaj, not just 16 rounds. I'm going to promise you that I'm going to start chanting 32 rounds every day, because I want to chant 16 and I want to chant 32 for all the lost 16 rounds that I have, the past 16 rounds that I have lost in chanting." So Niranjan Maharaj smiled. The father was so impressed. He started telling the son, "This person has so much love and affection in his heart. I can't imagine how can someone be so loving, and for what? I have not given him anything, but he still loves me so much and remembers me so dearly. Oh son, I want to chant." And in this way it continued. The son continued in his process of Krishna consciousness at Radha Gopinath temple. And one day he came to this father and he said, "Father, I want to speak something of my heart. Can I share it with you?" The father said, "Please go ahead." The son said, "Will I have your permission to become a brahmachari and give my life to Krishna?" And the father stood up and with a very big wide smile on his face, he said, "You actually stole my heart by saying this. I was thinking that how can I reciprocate to Niranjan Swami Maharaj for all his affection? I couldn't give him anything. At least I thought, let me give him my son. And now you yourself have come with this idea. Oh son, I am very touched. I give you all my blessings. You please join as the brahmachari." So his son joined as a brahmachari. So Chetan Kanakiya's son was Chinmay Kanakiya. And this Chinmay Kanakiya joined the brahmachari ashram as Stoka Krishna Prabhu. He joined as a brahmachari. He stayed as a brahmachari for some time. Then he became grihastha. And unfortunately, by the will of Providence, he was afflicted with cancer. And within a year after his grihastha life, he left his body. Stoka Krishna Prabhu has been described not as a very popular forefront brahmachari, someone who's leading kirtans and someone who's leading a lot of classes. But when all the senior devotees, whether it's Gauranga Prabhu, Gaur Gopal Prabhu, whether it is Govind Prabhu, or whether it is Shikshashtakam Prabhu, whenever these very senior brahmacharis of Radha Gopinath temple, they speak about Stoka Krishna Prabhu, they speak about one specific aspect of his personality, and that is to perform very menial service to the devotees. When devotees, brahmacharis, who were told to have mosquito nets, especially because in Mumbai you have so many mosquitoes, just to make sure that the devotees sound health, they were asked to have mosquito nets when they sleep. Sometimes senior brahmacharis and preachers, they would come from programs and it would be very late and they would just fall asleep and they would not think much about the mosquito net. But when they would wake up, there would be a very nice mosquito net above their head. And no one absolutely knew who it was. And just like Narottam Das Thakur would humbly serve Lokanath Goswami, and Lokanath Goswami would see the result, but he had no clue who's doing it. Similarly here, no one knew who was actually having the mosquito net over all the brahmacharis. And later they got to know it was Stoka Krishna Prabhu, who would take rounds to see if everyone is having sound sleep before he went off to sleep. Another very specific thing that Stoka Krishna Prabhu was known for was stitching broken buttons in the kurtas. Just like sometimes you see in the house itself, when the husband, his button on the shirt or the kurta is broken, the wife may sometimes very lovingly stitch. Similarly, Stoka Krishna Prabhu was like the wife for all the brahmacharis. When their kurta button would get broken, Stoka Krishna Prabhu would stitch. And he had all these different colors and shades of saffron that he would use. Because different brahmacharis, they have different shades of saffron. So he would have all of those threads and he would stitch very, very lovingly. So many times the devotees would come and button would be broken and they would just give it to Stoka Krishna Prabhu and he would do it. And sometimes devotees are chanting japa and sitting, and Stoka Krishna Prabhu would say, "You don't interrupt your japa. You just keep your kurta on. As you're chanting japa, to save your time, I will stitch." So he would help them even when they're chanting japa. He continued like this And during his last days, as he moved in a room in Radha Gopinath temple, there used to be continuous kirtan for him, and senior brahmacharis would read from the Bhagavatam for him all day. His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was on his bedside during his departure. And even in those days of departure, now I am talking, now when we talk about Bhuri Karuna of Krishna, we are taking that thread of Krishna's mercy seen in this world through multiple devotees. So first we saw the mercy that Vaisheshika Prabhu was showering on those who came for the book distribution. Then he saw how selflessly Niranjan Maharaj was serving that to his father. And then we saw how his father was lovingly passing on the baton by offering his son selflessly, because he was a Gujarati and they had business. So to lose a son to Krishna and not to business was a very big sacrifice. And this father did it out of supreme mercy. And now here is Toka Krishna Prabhu, the embodiment of Bhuri Karuna. Selfless mercy and selfless service till the very last breath. We have just heard of these things in Dwapar Yuga, or let's say the saints in Satya Yuga, but dear devotees, this is Kali Yuga, just a few years before. And as he was breathing his last few days, and senior brahmacharis were reading, Stoka Krishna Prabhu on his departure bed was actually pointing with his finger up in the air towards the brahmachari. So the brahmachari thought that, he wants me to change the story and read something else. So he read something else, and Stoka Krishna Prabhu still continued to point. Later they got to know that he was actually pointing towards a broken button in the kurta of the brahmachari who was reading for him. So even on his departure bed, with just few days and hours left before he leaves his body, what gain would he have? But he's still at that point pointing, can I stitch this button back for you in the kurta? You're reading so much for me. Can I at least do this service before I leave? All the brahmacharis had their eyes moist and tears streaming down their eyes as they saw Stoka Krishna Prabhu, even during his departure days, even during last minutes in this body, exemplifying extreme karuna, bhuri karuna, offering himself as a selfless servant in Vraja Bhav. So therefore there is a saying that no one can win over that person. I repeat, no one can win over that person who willingly accepts defeat for another person's pleasure. No one can win over that person who willingly accepts defeat for another person's pleasure. So in this way, Krishna is like this. All of this mercy, all of this affection, all of this selfless service and love and compassion that we are talking about, it's coming in the lives of those devotees who are chanting the names of Krishna. Can you imagine how it would be in the heart of Krishna? Krishna's feet are so soft that it's described that they would hurt the chest of the gopis. The softest part of our body, there is a fear that, that would probably hurt Krishna's feet. So Krishna's feet was so soft. Our feet are hard. It's not lotus feet, it's cactus feet. But Krishna's feet were so soft. What to speak of the other parts of Krishna's body, and what to speak of Krishna's soft heart. How much love Krishna has for everyone. So Gajendra here, he's saying, Krishna, you are not just muktaya, you're not just free of this problem. You're not just out of this problem, bhuri karuna. You're just waiting to help anyone and everyone. Like a mother, you love everyone. Krishna, all of our sins and bad habits are like fire flames. And Krishna, your capacity to forgive is like an ocean. Irrespective of how many fire flames we throw into the ocean can just sap it all as if it's insignificant. So similarly, Krishna's power to forgive and love is like an ocean. And all of our sins, they are like fire flames. So here, Krishna is not just free. He's not just ready to give mercy. The third and the final adjective for Gajendra says, my Lord, alayaya, which means, laya means to sleep. Like we know the word pralay, which means to put everyone to sleep. Complete destruction. So my Lord, alaya means to sleep and to be lazy. But you are not laya, you are alaya. Hmm? I'll correct myself if I made a mistake. The word laya means to sleep or to be lazy. So because pralaya puts everyone to sleep, it is called so. So Krishna is not laya, he is a laya, which means he is ever enthusiastic to serve. Krishna feels in debt. He stands outside the door of the devotee. He sits, he even sleeps outside the door to serve the devotee and pay off the debt. He is always enthusiastic to serve the devotee. There is not a single pastime where Krishna does not act for his devotee. Or he acts, but he says, oh, well, I'll act tomorrow. I'm too lazy today. I don't feel like acting now. Or Krishna says, I'm too tired. You see, I have to do all this creation process. We will roll it over for tomorrow. Let's not take it now. No, Alayaya, Krishna never fails to act. He acts immediately. It's like the lightning and thundering. He's acting immediately. So he's free from all problems. Muktaya, he's liberated himself. Bhuri Karunaya, he is ready to help others and he helps immediately without delay. Sarathya parashada sevana sak veerasananu gamana stavana pranaman snigdeshu pandushu jagat pranatim cha Vishnu bhaktim kuruti nripatis charanaravinde. The Bhagavatam describes how eager and enthusiastic Krishna was to serve the Pandavas. Sarathya, he was their chariot driver. Parashada, he was their associate. Sarathya Parashata Sevana, he was their servant. Sarathya Parashata Sevana Sakhya, he was their friend. Dautya, he was their messenger. Virasana, he was standing outside their tent as they were sleeping at night. Anugamana, he would walk behind them. Stavana, he would pray to them. And Pranaman, he would offer obeisances to Yudhishthir Maharaj. Why? Snigdeshu Pandushu. He would have so much love for the Pandavas. And who is he? Jagat Pranatim cha Vishnu. The whole world bows down to him because he is Vishnu. But Krishna is busy bowing down to his devotees. So three qualities. Krishna is free. He is liberated. He is out of all problems. Second, he is eager to serve and help devotees. And third, he acts with emergency. So Gajendra calls out these three. Muktaya, Bhuri, Karunaya, Namolayaya. My Lord, I offer my obeisances to you. Madrik Prapanna Pashupasha. I am an animal. And I'm begging you to liberate me. Vimokshanaya. Who are you? Muktaya. You are liberated yourself. Bhuri Karunaya. You have immense compassion. And Alaya. You are never lazy. You act immediately. And my Lord, Swamshena Sarvatanubhrid Manasi Pratita Pratyak Drishe. As Paramatma, you are there inside. But now I want you to externally manifest. Bhagavate, you are Bhagavan, you can do it. And Brihate, my Lord, this problem is insignificant. It is Anu, it is atomic. And you are Brihat, you are big, you are Vibhu. There is nothing as big as you. Everything else is insignificant, my Lord. Namaste. I bow down to you and beg you to help me. So in this way, Indra offers his heart through this verse, the text number 17. So tomorrow we meet again from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time, where we will take from text 18 onwards. I'm very, very grateful to all the devotees who are kindly participating. And during such time, pandemic times of lockdown, you're giving me so much association and solace because it is difficult for all of us to just sit at home and not do anything because all of our temples and home programs are shut. But I feel very encouraged that devotees are coming to the best of the ability that we have, and mutually we are trying to serve each other. Thank you so much for your auspicious presence. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavatam ki jai, Gajendra Stuti ki jai, Gaur Premanand.